What's up, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back. This is Comedians on Skype Talking Comedy, presented by the Hot Breath Comedy Network. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to the show. Just know that to get involved in these live Q&As and ask your own questions, you have to go join our Facebook group that is linked in the description. But without further ado, today's guest is one of Hot Breath's favorite. He did episode 194 way back in the Dizzy, and now he is back to answer all your most valuable questions. Please welcome to the show, Mike Vecchione, everyone. Welcome to the show, Mike Vecchione.
So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate being on again. I had a good time the last time, man.
Good. Thanks for, you got a haircut during this quarantine? How did you do that?
I cut my own hair.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I've been violating the rules. I've been doing my own thing.
How have you been? I like to start all these off with, like...
You're frozen.
I'm frozen?
I don't know.
It keeps freezing?
Freezing.
It keeps freezing? Oh, yeah, you're freezing. I must be freezing. Who is freezing?
You were freezing. You're back now.
I'm freezing. Am I back? People watching, how are we doing? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are we all right? No!
You froze again a little bit.
Don't do
There
this.
you go. You're back. You're back.
We're back. Okay. We're going to make this work here. Despite... So, Skip says we're both freezing. Maybe if we...
Oh, are we?
But we're getting likes. We're getting engagement. Let's hope...
Maybe the freezing is helping.
Maybe the whole thing is freezing, he says. That's so... We just did an hour and everything... You're good now, Dave Namery says. Or Namery. So, we'll just roll with it and we'll hope for the best here. Good now, they're saying. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, I always like to open these up with just asking about what this quarantine, how it's affected your comedy and how you're trying to, like... maximize your, quote, downtime or free time right now, and maybe tips you have for how comics can really make the most of what seems like a bad situation. How can we make this like a good opportunity?
Okay, I know everybody is different, so keep that in mind. I'm just going to tell you what I do. What I've been doing is I'm a guy who gets on stage a lot because I live in New York. So it's been a huge, and I've been on the road a lot too, so it's a huge drop off, first of all. But it took me, like, I was kind of overworked anyway, like running around the city and then being on the road. And then, so I was kind of run down. So I just took, like, some time. Plus, you have to adjust to the quarantine. You had to get stuff like food and toilet paper and all that. So I didn't do anything for, like, a week. But then once we settled in, I started on just the normal, the vanilla advice that they give everybody, which is, like, keep a schedule. So I've been doing that. I've been not, waking up whenever I wake up, having coffee. I meditate, coffee, and then either a workout or journal, and then a workout, and then lunch, and then as the day goes by, I try to use my energy earlier in the day is what I'm trying to say, because there's no spots at night. So
right.
Try to wake up. But I'm not really writing jokes in the sense like turning out material because there's nowhere to try it out. So I'm just mostly journaling.
Yeah, that's what I've been finding too, is I'm more of like I'm almost more in like getting organized mode or planning mode and more of just trying to get all my ducks in a row. I haven't really been doing joke writing, but I have been doing journaling and trying to maybe build more of a strategy around what I'm doing as opposed to we get in that mode of write jokes, perform. But I'm using this time to kind of start thinking about what else can I do when I don't have the performance outlet.
Right. There's also podcasts. Like I have a podcast called No Disrespect. So with Justin Silver. And so what I do is I'll prepare for that the way I've always prepared for it, which is it's more of a joke-based podcast. So I'll prepare for whatever topics we're going to do or whatever segments that we have planned. But even that's an adjustment because we're not in the studio. So that's an adjustment, but try to plan for that. That's joke writing. But other than that, it's journaling. And then there's different strategies with the journal. It's like you journal and then take notes on the side of the journal. This could be something. This could be something. This could be something. And then I read it into a recorder and then listen to it back when I take a walk.
Huh.
You know, to see. It's kind of like listening to a set.
Interesting.
But they're just raw thoughts. You know, the process is a little different because you're trying to, this might be something, and then maybe take that and work with that a little bit, or that's a good idea. Or because there's a million funny things that happen to you every day, even in this situation. But it's just a matter of identifying them and then taking them out. We don't always have the presence of mind to write the stuff down on our phone. So if you journal, you know, once a day or once every 2 days, and then make notes and then read it into your phone and then listen to it back, it keeps it like fresh. Oh, that was funny. Oh, that was something. Because I find the problem is that we forget stuff so fast. A funny thing could happen, or a potential thing can happen that's really funny, and you'll just forget about it. You'll just go on in your life, especially now because nobody's performing.
Interesting. So when you're journaling, is it more like, is it like, well, I'm waking up at 7 a.m. and you kind of just start with whatever's top of mind, or do you have more of a plan behind the journaling?
Now, I try to do it with no plan, where it's like you're just what happened in your day or what happened yesterday, and then if you really think about it, because it's still pretty fresh in your mind. If you really think about each thing that happened to you, and it's not just about each thing, it's not just about documenting the thing. It's also, which I've learned, is your feelings about it are funny. You know what I mean? Or there's a bunch of stuff that could have happened. You know, what if this or what if that, and your feelings towards that, and as you know, there's different things that could have happened. What your feelings they're changed all the time. So it's important. That's like an important thing instead of just documenting everything.
Oh, that's fun. Adding an emotional connection to what you're talking about. That's fascinating.
Right, and that makes whatever jokes that you're making, it makes it number one more organic, and then it makes it rich. But you could still use your joke writing ability. That's what I've learned. Like it makes it, because more often than not, people have had other people. If you've experienced it, other people have experienced it, and they're going to go, "Oh yeah!" So you're going to have that identification factor. And then you use your joke writing ability to turn it on them, and then it extrapolates out, and it could make it funny.
Oh, very nice. And this actually ties into the first question here from Skip Angel or Angel. I don't know. He always attends these Q&As, but I'm not quite sure how to say his last name. But
hi, Skip.
Hey, Skip.
Hi, Skip.
Mike said, "Hey." Oh, that's great.
What's up, Skip?
So his is a great question. And what I loved about your interview with us when you were in Atlanta, we did last year, was just like, and Nate said this in his Q&A, he's like, you're just like a craftsman. He put you on like an Attell level. And I've heard, Bert Kreischer, like all the top comics, you're known as like the jokes craftsman. Hello. I think we're still here. I think we're still in the current one. Okay. That's so crazy. And you know, it was, Skip says his question broke the video. But that's what, the Sean, when we did one with Sean Patton, about like 30 minutes in, the internet like dropped and we had to do the rest on the phone. But we're back on this one. So, okay. Let's get to the question here. It's, Skip asks, what's a writing exercise or discipline you use frequently?
I used to sit down and write before sets, like just try to churn out jokes, individual jokes. But I found that to be, I could see that, you know, you do something and then you see the result of it. So my first album, like that's what I did. And then I listened to the album. It's like great jokes, but okay, on the next one, I would like to have great jokes, but I would like it to be more organic. So in order for that to happen, you have to change your process, which is instead of just joke writing, I'm going to still joke write, but I'm going to journal now. And then I'm going to take the organic situations that happen in my life and I'll apply my joke writing ability to that instead of just trying to sit down and grind out jokes. I need a marriage joke. I need a gambling joke. I need something So it's like I used to do that. I need a marriage joke, a
Hmm.
gambling joke, a sex joke. I need this, and instead now it's just like, okay, what's happening in your life? Take it, write it, and then apply the joke writing, um, your strategy to what's already happening.
Oh, so instead of trying to, find material, you almost look at what's already easily
Right.
accessible to you and write it from there.
Right, unless it's like the Comedy Cellar show on Comedy Central where they'll give you topics and they're like, okay, here's the topics, and that's kind of a challenge because it's like, okay, we're all doing like these are the topics. What can you find? And then it's a different. It's like look at the angles. What are some of the angles? And then I don't really journal on that. I just look at the angles and then maybe there's something here, maybe there's something here, maybe there's something here, and because it has to be taped in a timely fashion. I'll video what my thoughts are on it. I'll video my thoughts and then I'll
Huh.
watch it and be like, oh, maybe there's something there I can tighten up, something there I can, much like a set. There's something there I can tighten up. That's an idea, but not ready. That's not done. And then keep shooting it until I craft the points that I want. And it helps you.
What?
It
So
helps me.
you'll write a joke and then record yourself doing it and refine it that
Yeah.
way.
They'll give a topic and then I'll go, okay, what are the angles here on this? And I'll write the angles and then try to do a cohesive video of it. Like I'll video just for myself because you're going on stage that night. So it's like,
Huh.
and you maybe you got the topics the day before. So there's no time. So it's just like you take.
All right, kids. We're back.
Okay.
Okay, we're back here. So what I just did is I just connected my computer to my phone's internet. So just know, Hot Breath, we're draining the data for this one. We're using the whole data plan to get this interview. But I think we're good now, actually. So this is gonna be great.
Okay.
My mom will be thrilled I used up all her data. Don't worry.
Uh,
So
uh,
what it kind of cut out a little bit. That is interesting. I didn't know this Comedy Cellar show did that though, to where it was like, okay, here are your topics. You have a day to write them, and then we're gonna film them for like the internet. That's wild. I didn't know that's how they did that
Well,
show.
depending when you're shooting, you could be shooting on a day, you could be shooting in 2 days. It just depends when you're shooting. But the point is, you don't have that much time with the topics, so it's like, and you don't
Right.
have time to really try it out. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you got to get the funniest thing you can out of it, and it's a different process than like trying to work it in the clothes for a while. But I
So
find it's good because it's fast.
right,
It's pretty fast.
good practice. And you mentioned you look for the angles. So what do you mean by angles exactly?
Um, the angles. Well, I'm trying to think of just like the coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
before we got quarantined. It's like, okay, it's write something about, it was kind of a broad thing, but write something about the coronavirus. And it's like, okay, what are the angles? Like, why are we, like, I guess what I mean by angles is like questions. You're questioning the topic. Okay, how did we get it? Why did we have it? So I came up with we have it because people told us to get rid of straws. People told us to get rid of straws. Now we're putting our mouths on everything. And the turtles are fine, but now we all have the coronavirus. Like, we're dying.
Uh-huh.
So the angle is, do the turtles care about us? We care about the turtles, and now we need help, and the turtles don't give a shit. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
then
that's
it's like
great.
their heads they're in their shells, they're
Uh-huh.
old, it's like there's more jokes about them being old and them mumbling racial slurs in their shells because they're 100. So it's like, I guess what I mean by angles is just like you're questioning the topic, you're asking questions. Let me
Ah.
close this. There's a light coming through here. I
Yeah,
don't
no
want it to
problem.
blind the.
Yeah, a little backlight, as they say. So thank you for everyone commenting with questions as well and sticking with us through this internet debacle here. Hopefully this data plan holds up. So yeah. So the angles are the questions. Um, I was following a train of thought there.
Because it's never dead on the topic. It's always like an ancillary thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's always you have to, straight on. You have to angle it to be like, okay, what's funny about this?
And will you like write the topic?
It's usually the little things. It's usually the little things that are funny.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Like the turtle saying the racial slur. You mean like little details like that is usually what's the funny?
Little details, but it's like, how are we getting it? What would have prevented it? And then taking another like pop culture thing that we just went through, which is like, there was a whole big initiative before all this started to get rid of straws. Mm-hmm. So I connected to the whole, which people are well aware of and everybody supported. So it's like, get rid of straws. It's like, oh, maybe that caused it. Maybe the straw people are the problem.
Gotcha. So you almost like, here's a pop culture topic. What are other pop culture topics I could maybe connect it with? And that's one way to find an angle.
The problem is this, and the solution might also be out there. Like,
okay.
What is the solution? Maybe vaping. Maybe another problem is the solution.
Oh, that's gold. I love that. And you'll just write the topic like at the top of your page, and then just kind of start brainstorming these things. That's kind of the pen to paper process of it.
Yeah, well, I was flying back from somewhere and got the topic. So it's like, okay, I got to work on this on the flight. So it's like, it helps to like read for me, it helps to like read the news and go back to writing and then read the news more. Because there's angles in the news where it's like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then you take it all into consideration and be like, okay, what are the angles of this joke? What are the angles of the coronavirus? What are the angles of the quarantine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're stuck together. Everything is something else. Maybe that's the angle. It's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you're being playful with it. You're not settling on any one thing, but it helps to talk it out. But it also, if you can't talk it out, if you're just writing down, maybe you don't have the full joke, but maybe in your quarantine, it's your own little society. So everything is everything else. The bathroom is a hospital. My closet is a gym. The other room is a summer home. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You're being playful with it. It's like, is that something? Maybe that's not funny enough. It's like, keep playing with it until I get it.
Yeah. And I think it's important. You take it to the next level where you'll write it, but then actually say it, which then you almost have to start justifying your words. And I find a lot of editing when I say things out loud. And do you almost find the big punchline once you start saying it out loud? Is that when you really start to bring it to life?
It's almost like you have the points, but it's like connecting the dots.
Gotcha.
It's like you have the points out there,
mm-hmm.
and then it's like connecting them. You know what I mean? I think a funny way to connect them, or a concept, like getting a concept down and like playing with the concept until you come up with the jokes. There's different ways. I guess there's two different ways of doing it. Finding the points first, and then finding your way to the points versus creating a concept and finding the points afterwards.
And
I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me in my head, but maybe I'm not explaining it. I'm not explaining it very well, I don't think. But it's just the way my mind works. It's like, those are two ways of doing it. Coming up with a concept and then finding the points, locating the points, and then the concept to get to those points.
Yeah, because, sometimes a joke starts with, oh, I found almost the punchline. I need to work backwards on how I get to it. And other times it's like, well, here's you take it all the way from setup to punchline. Like sometimes the joke is the end. You start at the end and then you have to work back in the beginning and then work forward. Like every joke kind of has its own personality.
Right. It's like a deductive process versus an inductive process.
Yes. And you had You have a dry erase board with your jokes or your joke ideas? Is that
I
what?
put the ideas on there, and sometimes it helps, and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll put. I find if I put ideas up.
Yeah, show us the goods.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have like
Yeah. So I'll put the ideas up, and this is pre-quarantine, obviously, because I haven't. But it's like I put them up, and then okay, there's a joke there, there's a joke there. I don't know what the joke is, but there's something funny. Like going to the dentist. I went to the dentist before, the whole thank God for the quarantine. But I'm to the dentist, and it's like I haven't been able to come up with a good dentist chunk. There's a chunk there because a lot of hilarious things happened. I journaled about it, but I haven't been able to like solidly. Obviously now I can't because I can't do comedy, but I haven't been solidly able to put it together. But that's because it's I just haven't been able to develop it. But there's a bunch of funny stuff there, and I can. There's stuff like. When you go in, they ask you for your level of pain from 1 to 10. That's funny to me. There's something there that's like 1 to 10. Could you rate your own pain when you go into the dentist? I don't have a joke for it, but that's a hilarious thing. And I also went to the NYU School of Dentistry, where students will work on your teeth.
Oh.
And that's funny. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I have a massive tooth pain. So why not let a kid give it a shot? You know what I mean? Like I don't have. So there's something funny about that. So it's like these little points, writing them down, and then trying to. It's one of those things where it's an instinct. Where it's like, there's something funny there.
Yes.
I need to figure it out. And then once you get the joke, then it's like, okay, I need to connect this to another concept or thing that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's valuable, especially like younger comics, to be aware of that instinct and really trust that instinct. Because even someone at your level is like, there's something there. I don't know what yet, but you're so honed into your process that you know when something's tapping at your brain of like, there's something here, I just don't know what yet, that's the direction you need to go in. And I think young comics need to listen for that instinct more, and that'll help them develop.
Right. It actually, Nate actually said something that's really great in terms of mindset. When you have something like that, you have a point, a part of a thing that might become a joke, and you're working it, and but it's funny, but you don't have the joke yet. Your mindset, in terms of mindset, should be it's on the way. It's on the way.
Oh, I love that. All right.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like manifesting it. It's on the way. It's going to be good. I just have to figure out how to get there,
Awesome. So let's get into some more questions here. This one's Jason P. Leonard, and he does all the shows in Lafayette, Louisiana. He runs the Lafayette Comedy down there. And he says, have you been down there? Have you been to Lafayette? Done any of those shows?
No.
Oh, okay. Look, Jason, come on, man. I guess now's not the time to ask since we can't go anywhere. But he says, so your last album, The Worst Kind of Thoughtful, which is a killer album, runs about an hour, 20 minutes. With everyone generally shooting for 45 to 60 minutes for an album, was there a reason to go long, or were you that happy with the material?
I was looking to put something. I was looking to put out all the material that I had. I was just looking to put it all out. I wanted to get it documented and out so that I didn't have to, because I'm going to turn it over. I know I'm going to turn it over. So, and I'm going to move forward. In order to do that, I don't want to lose any of it. So I could have probably done a double album. I think I had enough to do a double album, but I just chose to put it all on one thing and just give it to like Sirius XM and let them play it. And so that was my mind. My mindset was just getting the material out, getting it documented, and moving on. In retrospect, I should have shot it. I should have shot it also. But in 2008, things are moving fast, and no one was putting out the clips like they are now. So what I should have done is shot it and then put it out on Sirius XM and then release the clips incrementally is what I should have done.
Is that what
If
you're
I had to
finding?
do it over again, that's what I would do. But the whole goal, to answer the question,
Yeah.
was to get the material documented, get it out, and get it making some money for me.
Which was on Sirius, which you're getting the
Yes.
residuals from that were like the best way to make
Yes.
money on it. Yeah. Because
Right.
how I find and I hear that's how comics make mostly their money is through those residuals, like sales or anything like that. Like, did you find any useful ways to actually market the album that you're able to drive sales of it?
Just getting on podcasts.
Podcast was a good
Getting
way.
on podcasts and letting people know about it, and then having other comics vouch for the album.
Mm-hmm.
Guys with who are respected and guys with bigger followings to be like, you got to check this guy's album out. And a lot of my good friends did that for me.
Oh,
you know,
great.
Ari Shaffir was the guy who did it. Bert Kreischer did it. David Tell. People that I respect and looked up to. Jay Okerson, Dan Soder. Those guys all promoted it and said, yeah, this guy's got a really good album. You might not know you might not know him, but comics know him. So listen to his album. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and a lot of people buying the album because of it.
Do you now have like another hour? Like, how quickly do you churn over material?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the other guys do it. They're doing it faster than I am. I need a little bit more time. Like that, Louis was doing it. Louis and Burr, like they were doing once a year, like every year, and that's, to me, I can't do it that fast.
Oh yeah, I mean that's.
So it's been 2018, and I don't know. I was on a pretty good pace turning it over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure really where I was. My mindset is I'd rather be over prepared. So if it takes a few years, I'd rather be over prepared than the material for me getting halfway there and being like, okay, I'm going to put this out. I'd rather be over prepared for it. So I'd rather have an hour 20 and I'd be forced to cut it to an hour versus, not straining to get that hour or the things not being tight enough. Because we can all tell the level of laughs that we're getting in the audience. It's like, oh, that's getting some kind of a laugh, but it's not getting the deep gut laugh that I need. So it's like, it could be funnier. Or if it's getting that kind of a laugh, maybe that's a jab into something stronger.
Uh-huh.
I can't just leave that. I can't just leave that at that level of laughter. It's not usable for me unless it's to get into something else that's much funnier.
What do you find provokes that gut laughter that we all like seek? What have you found? Is there like a specific type of joke, or like is it the more personal material? Like what gets the audience in the gut like that?
I've seen guys do it with like emotion. I've seen guys do like, there's different kinds where people go, yeah, I've been in that situation before, and that's a hilarious take. And it's hilarious because they've gone through the same thing, and then the comic is taking such a twist on it, and it hurts. They're taking their past thoughts and behavior, and then they're listening to this guy spin on it, and it makes them laugh. It's making them gut laugh because they've been in that situation. They've never thought of it that way. So it's something familiar and that they can connect to, and then the turn on it, that the comic's unique take on it, really affects them. It affects them like in an emotional way.
Okay.
And then I've seen guys just do it with straight. I've seen guys do it with straight jokes, just kill with straight jokes also. So, I guess there's multiple ways of getting that gut laugh, but the important thing is like recognizing, just do your style of what you're doing, but then recognizing when it's a gut laugh and recognizing when people are just laughing, or what the level of it is. It's important. That's important.
Yeah, I think
it's funny, but it's not funny enough.
And listening to the audience, like I feel like the first few years of comedy, or maybe several years, is like you're just worried about your words and what you're saying, but then you start to develop a new awareness when you actually start listening to the audience, and you, instead of focusing on what you're saying, it's almost like, how are they responding? You can start to take real life data from each joke, but listening to the audience is like a whole other skill set.
Yeah, listening to them, and listening to the level at which they're affecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's kind of a thing over time, because you'll get some dumb audiences. So, and you can't totally discount them, but you can't give them the weight that you would give an audience that's good.
Gotcha. So let's get into the next one here.
You know what I mean? Because it'll discourage the joke. It might be a good joke, and but the audience might be too dumb to get it. So, but that doesn't mean that the joke is bad. It means that maybe the joke needs some work, or maybe the audience isn't connecting to it for some reason that's their problem and not yours.
Yeah, Sean Patton.
So that's stuff all has to be taken into consideration, I think, and you develop a stronger sense of yourself over time as the years pass of doing it. You go, because there'll be audiences that are not good, and you might get a few of them in a row on a weekend, and it's almost like they're trying to muscle you out of your jokes, and you're like, no, you're not right. You're not right. I'm right. But you don't get that until like later, like, in your career, like later on. You don't have that muscle to be like, no, you're not, because the danger in that is that they're perfectly capable of talking you out of a very good joke.
How do you know when you're getting talked out of a good joke and when the joke just isn't good?
Yeah, that's the trick. And the trick is like having the experience over the years to be like, no, there's something about this that's funny. It's not working here, but I guess talking it out with friends, other comics, and then trying it in different environments is the key. Just trying it over time with different audiences.
Gotcha. And I guess trusting that, like we said with the writing, and you think there's something there. If you think there's something there, then it's going to be worth the time and pain on stage to get it to a place to where it's working.
Yeah, and that being said, you have to take your ego out of it too. Like if it's just not working with any audience, and you can't be delusional and go, no, these people are too stupid. It's like everybody's not stupid. Everybody's not stupid. So it's like you need to fix the joke. There's guys who will do that too. Go, you're just not getting me. It's like no one is getting you. It's not funny. It's not funny, And I'm the first guy to do that to myself. So it's like, but you have to be aware of it too. Like you have to be aware of it. Like it's just not good enough. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not. So I have to fix it. Fix it or get rid of it.
Yeah. How many times will you do a joke before you're like, never mind?
I've had entire weekends where I'll be struggling with I'll be fighting them, and I'll go, that's not me. It's not. I shouldn't have to fight this hard with them, with the audience. I shouldn't have to fight this hard. So it's like, and then it's like, I can work them and I'll try and whatever. But as far as giving them the credit for me placing a lot of weight on their response, that kind of fades. Like I'm like, okay, I can't give them. It's like the crowd has to earn it. You know what I mean? I have to earn it with them, but they have to earn it with me as far as like knowing what's funny and knowing what's funny. And if too many jokes like hit them in the head and bounce off, and they're not getting them, their credibility is ruined as far as me developing new material, me like listening to them to develop new material. Their credibility gets shot.
Gotcha.
Because I'm hitting them with proven jokes, and they're like either giving it nothing or like not responding in a way where it's like I'm pulling it out of them. Then their credibility is shot, and I won't place much weight on them when I'm trying a new joke.
But when you're trying a new joke, how many shows will you give it a run before you think, I need to shelf this?
Yeah, but it's not a number of shows. It's also like if you're in one place and you're doing 5 shows and you're struggling with your good jokes with every audience, I'm not trying new material there to give them. I'm not going to expose my new material to them so that they can shoot it down. They're already not giving the stuff that's good. that's already proven, they're not giving that anything.
Mm-hmm.
So their credibility is gone. So I'll give it a whole nother set of shows.
Gotcha.
To other audiences, other places, and then I'll get it. I need to get an objective read on it, and I can't do that if people are morons or they had a bad day or they're looking at me like, oh, you think you're better than me? Like, you get vibes from the audience, and it's like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm trying to help you to have a good time. And I know how to do that in the moment. Like, I know how to figure it out to get them and pull them in. But as far as trying new material goes, I can't give them the credibility. I can't give them the credibility. Yeah.
So this actually,
I don't know if that makes. I don't know if it's making any sense, but
well, you take the feedback.
I don't know, I might be explaining it wrong, but
I think it makes sense. I mean, you're pretty much just saying, whenever you do a show, you take the feedback with the grain of salt of what this audience is. Like, what all are they laughing at? So maybe if they're not laughing at my killer material, then this newer joke, I'm not getting a good read on it because they're not even reading when the material is good or not to begin with. So it's like you take the audience feedback based on their overall, like, you almost like grade the audience, like whether or not it's worth getting the feedback or not. Or this audience was okay, they laughed at certain things but not others.
The thing is, if they're not, if the proven jokes are not going well and I'm having to pull it out of them with the proven jokes, then it's not going to be a good read on new material.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to say.
So I don't know who this next person, their name didn't show up, but they did ask, are you optimistic about live shows returning in the foreseeable future?
I'd like to think so, but I just don't know. Like, right now as it stands, like, I do not see. I see people maybe going back to work right now, but as far as like gathering in small areas for comedy, like I don't know. Like, hopefully, like a vaccination or some kind of a medication comes out, but I just don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, it's crazy too, and it's interesting to see, like, keeping it comedy centric, just what all comedians are trying to, like, how we're trying to even figure out what to do right now. A lot of it, it's unknown. Everybody's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. I'm going to close this window real fast. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're that light's killing them. Oh. So this one talks about live shows also. It's Gus Horn Pereira. I am doing great with names. Sorry, thanks for commenting, everyone. Gus Horn says, Mike saw you opening for Myron Lefkowitz in February.
Yeah.
Were you guys at all afraid something would happen due to the circumstances?
I don't know. I wasn't afraid, really. I just I got a good feeling, like, because those were midnight shows. So when people were filing in, I got like a good vibe. So I didn't think there would be any craziness.
Why is he asking this? What was going on there? I don't even know who Myron Lefkowitz is. What's the circumstance?
It was Ari Shapir. It was Ari shows, yeah.
Oh, I see. I didn't know Myron Lefkowitz was also Ari Shafir.
Yeah.
Have you seen him since his situation? So have you like hung out with him, or?
I opened for him on the shows.
Oh, this was after the Kobe situation, I guess.
Yeah, it's after.
Oh,
after.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How?
So, yeah, that's why he was asking. He was asking. He's asking if it was a dangerous situation, and or how did you feel about the situation being made potentially dangerous? And I guess it was a possibility. Yeah, but it went, and then unless I missed something, it ended up being fine. It ended up being good.
How did he respond to all this? Like when you got, did you ever even ask him about the situation or anything?
No. I just I know what I understand people why people were upset.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, and but I understand his mindset of what he was doing. I understand it, so I understand both sides of it. I understand people's response and reaction. Now, threatening violence and all that stuff is like it's out of bounds, But I understand the response to it in the moment. But I did understand what he was trying to do, and more than any of that, like I am friends with Ari. I like him very much. So I called him just personally, and not posting anything. Like I'm not a big post stuff about like whatever situations, but I did call him. I called him or text. I texted him, I think, to make sure he was okay, and he was mentally doing okay. It's something about, regardless of the situation, when we're living in a time now where it's like when the world turns on you, whether it's justified or not, when the world, like Twitter, like when the world turns on you, like I said, justified or not, it can mess with your mind, it can screw your mind up, So he's a friend of mine, so I did reach out to him to make sure he was okay mentally,
Was he okay mentally? Like he was doing all right with the whole thing?
Yeah, he responded, but he responded with a joke. So he responded back with a joke.
Wow.
So I know he was. I know it's taxing. It's taxing on.
Oh my gosh.
That would be taxing on anybody. Like and like I'm saying, regardless if you right or wrong, it's or whether you brought it on yourself or whatever the situation is. It's a lot of mental stress. I would imagine. I put myself in that position. And even if I created the situation for myself, I would imagine I would be under a lot of mental stress there.
Yeah, that's what was bizarre about it. When you hear other comics talk about that situation, it's like, I mean, I know Ari. He's the nicest guy ever. And this joke,
he's a great guy.
That's all I hear about him. Like I've never met him or anything, but I hear he's literally like the nicest guy. But this joke just kind of missed.
Well, it's a miss, and what it was is a few things, but I don't really want to get into it. But he was doing it with every other it's a dangerous road to go down anyway. It's a risky. You're walking a tightrope anyway. Right. You know what I mean? But he was doing it with previous celebrities, and people were like, "Well, there was no joke there," and I understand that. I do understand it. But the whole thing is a joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, It's like, oh, there's no joke in there. It's like, I understand that. I understand why you would say that, and that's true. But that's, from my understanding, the joke's not in there because the entire thing is a joke.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He did it with Aretha Franklin. He did it with the 90210 guy. He did it with Tom Petty, like all of these things. So, and then he was just doing it again, but he didn't take a couple of things into consideration, and it backfired. So,
Yep.
But I understand the reaction. I do understand it, but I also understand what the people go. What's the mindset? I don't understand the mindset. So, but in looking at. If you look at the history of what he was doing, and then look at the thing, you will see the totality of it. And now it's a different thing whether you think it's funny or not. A lot of people are like, oh, "That's not funny, no matter what." Like, I understand that. Yeah. I completely get that, and you have the right to that. So it's just a matter of that. But the bottom line is, he's a friend of mine. I love him, and when that happened, regardless of what you feel about the situation, I did reach out to him to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, and I guess there hasn't really been any violence. I know that's what Gus was asking, the circumstances. There were threats, but I guess nothing's – I don't know, short-term memory as well, I guess, in terms of people like, that's crazy, and then like a week later we're on to something else that's crazy as well. But that one That one was like an atomic
it
bomb.
moves through, but but I do understand. I do understand because I do understand why people were upset. I
Yeah.
mean, now, death threats and all that stuff is like um, that's beyond. You should never put anybody's life at risk. So, but the shows did go well. The shows went very well.
Great. So if you worked with him, did you guys come up together, like up in the New York scene, or no?
He was in L.A. He was an L.A. guy.
Oh, okay.
He moved to New York. Like that's what another thing I really like about him is like he was in L.A. and doing great, and he was like, no, I'm gonna. I think I never talked to him about it, but I think his mindset was, no, I'm gonna experience something different. I wanna, New York, just because the number of rooms and the opportunities to get on stage, it's like more conducive to stand up. So he moved out here. He moved out here and then went. I think he's still going back and forth bi-coastal, but he spends a lot of time and grinds in these clubs in order to get better. So I really like that about him.
This actually ties into Sasha's question as well, talking about clubs. Sasha Nikolic asked, what are some of your favorite clubs to perform at that aren't the main ones, like the Cellar, Comedy Store, etc.? And what are your favorite smaller cities you've performed in?
I like. I haven't really been in the South that much, so I'm looking forward to someday going to the South. I don't think things are as divided as people would think, or it used to be, because the internet. We're all watching the same things. We're all connected, so it's like when you go, oh, you people from down here in the South don't understand. It's like everybody understands everything because of the internet now. So but I really like performing in Minnesota. That's a great, I think the people there are really good. I do the Mall of America, Rick Bronson's House of Comedy, and I really like that. But I've been going there for years, and I like the people there. I really do, because people come from all over the place.
Is that Acme?
Comedy on State in Wisconsin is great. The DC Improv is a great place. And the areas are good, but it's also it also depends what kind of club it is. If it's a good club and the club is well run, then the clientele that comes in will be better, regardless of the area.
Yep. Yeah. I've heard great things about Comedy on State and the Minnesota one. Is that the Acme one? Is that Acme, or is that?
No, this is I've never been to the Acme one, although I've heard good things.
Is that Minneapolis also?
I've been to the House of Comedy.
Okay, the House. Okay, yeah, that's right. You said Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that's funny.
Also, Vinny Brand, like the Stress Factory, in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and the one in Bridgeport, Connecticut. There's two. He has two of them now. Those are very good.
No, I know you didn't say any comedy zones there. You don't like doing. Have you ever done comedy zone gigs?
Yeah,
I've never done
comedy zone. I've never done a comedy zone. I'm not in the improv. So.
Oh, okay. That's what I had started to do more of those last year. I was starting to get some more work thrown at me from that angle in terms of getting more road gigs like that, which some are better than others. Regardless, the money is never great. But
right.
I guess that's part of it. I just hit my 10-year mark, so and last year was really my big step into headlining more and like getting on stage for that 45 minutes and really having to like establish and sustain yourself on stage. So getting to do comedy zones and performing around outside of my immediate area it's been a good learning experience, both on stage, but then also from the business side. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting how many clubs, I hope they could stay afloat.
Yeah.
How this reconfigures,
For sure. Oh, this is a good one here. Ryan McGuckin asks, and this guy's actually been on Hot Breath. He's awesome. Ryan McGuckin asks, how has Nick Griffin not blown up yet?
That's a really good question because he's a friend of mine and he's great, man. He's a great comic. So, yeah, stuff like that terrifies me. How he deserves to be much bigger than he is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Nick is one of the best. Nick is one of the best.
What do you mean it terrifies you? What terrifies you about it?
Well, it terrifies me because, I mean, I don't know how that guy can fly under the radar. He's so good. He shouldn't be flying under the radar. Like, he should be. He has a certain level of success, but he's way funnier. Like, he should be at, he should be more commercially successful, I believe. He's my friend, so
yeah.
I'm saying it too. But anybody who watches him, it's all it's built from the ground up. That guy's he's built from the ground up, so it's solid, great joke writing, and that's what I'm for. Mm-hmm. I'm for anybody, not just because he's personally my friend, but I'm for anybody doing that. I root for those guys, the guys who build it from the ground up.
But people could, not to the degree of like Nick, but I feel like people could also say that to a degree about like Attell, where, I mean, he's big and he sells out wherever he goes, but I feel like he could and should be like even bigger, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm not knocking his career at all, but I feel like he could and should be doing more like theaters or something. Like he's every comedian is like he's the funniest, like hands down. He's the greatest, but yet outside of maybe his immediate fan base, it doesn't seem like that's being recognized. Or do you not agree? I mean, you're friends with him, so I don't know.
No, I agree. I agree with it, but it's like it's the difference between commercially what people think is great and what other people think. I don't know. Like with Attell, I don't have an answer. Like I think if you see it, if you watch any of what he's doing, you'll come out, no matter who you are, you'll come out with the same opinion that all of us have, which is he's the best guy. So yeah. I don't understand, there doesn't need to be like either him or Nick really. There doesn't need to be, I don't understand it from a standpoint of like, I don't understand why there needs to be a huge marketing push for these guys. There doesn't. All you have to do is watch it. All you have to do is actually watch it. And if you watch it, if you're not walking away with the same, like, this guy is the best guy, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
And this,
you know what I mean? So I don't have the short end is I don't have an answer. I really don't. I think it's as simple as just watching it. But apparently that's not. Maybe it's my lack of understanding of people. I think it's my lack of understanding of like common people.
Mm-hmm. Or business. I mean, because it's show business. So it's like, the show is the job, but then the business is also like another job. And some people are better at one than the other. And it's a balancing act. You have to kind of like nurture both.
Yeah, but it's one of the things where it's like, somebody sells you a bed or something, and they go, this is the best bed ever. And it's like a nationally marketed, it's the McDonald's of beds. Everybody knows it and whatever. And it's fine. But then like a company introduces a better bed, and you've slept on it, and it's many times better than the McDonald's bed. It is many times, but it's like, it's not advertised everywhere. It's not in your face everywhere. It's just, but it is built much better, and it is a much better bed. So it's like, which one do you choose? Well, if all you know is the McDonald's bed, then you're just going to choose that because it's the thing that everybody is. But if you've tried the other bed and you still go back to the McDonald's bed, I don't know what to tell you.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the nature of comedy, I guess. Some people blow up, and then others.
It's the nature, and maybe it's like some. I don't know. Like some people, I don't know. People say people have different tastes. People have different tastes. People have different things that make them tick, I guess. I don't know. I don't personally understand it, but
People also have different aspirations. So it's not like every comedian, we're like, they're hilarious. They should be where we think they should be. I mean, we may see a comedian and they're like happy where they are. They're like, no, this is where I wanted to be, So it's also a difference in taste of each comedian and what their goals and aspirations are as well. So we don't need to project they need to be somewhere we think they should be. It's like, if they're happy with where they are, that's also something to be noted.
No, it's not even that. It's not even like where they are, their aspirations. It's about. I would be interested to see that, and that would be a good experiment in like a focus group, where a focus group watches one comedian, and then a focus group watches another comedian, and then I can sit there and watch them talk about it. That would be great for me because I have a lack of understanding. I just have a lack of understanding. So
that's fascinating. Yeah,
that would actually be very helpful. A focus group watching a comedian that I don't think is any good, and then have them talking about it, and to see, and to see why they think that a comic who I don't think is very skilled, but is commercially successful, and then have them talk about it, and then me watch it.
And when we're talking about aspirations, like what are your aspirations? Like what are you hoping to kind of achieve or excel through your career now?
I don't know. I would like a level of commercial success. I would really like that. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I
thought you were talking to your commercially successful self. You're like, hello, commercially successful self. I'm speaking to you into existence.
To my commercially.
Hilarious. Yeah, and Ryan says the same thing that happened with music. Garbage is on the radio. Yeah, I mean, there's commercial, the side. But, like, to you, what is commercial success? What do you... Is there a cat in there?
I like everything I was doing. I would like everything everything that I'm doing to be even on a higher level. Obviously, more commercial success. But I would also like different opportunities. Like I would like to be on a show, acting. I would like my podcast to be what it is, but even more, reach more people. Mm-hmm. I would like my comedy to, reach more people, basically.
Okay. Nice. And this could be a good one to wrap it up with, as we're speaking about comedians. Skip actually chimed in with, is there a comedian you feel everyone should be watching out for?
I think there's a bunch here. I mean, I'm privy to New York, so I think there's a bunch of guys here that people should keep their eye on and should be watching. I think all you have to do is go to the clubs. If you go to the clubs here, you'll see guys who are really good, and not even the clubs. It's even if you go to rooms here, you may see people who, again, they're not in the clubs. They're flying under the radar because they're in rooms, and for whatever reason, they can't get into the clubs, and they're very good. So it's the people who are working on their craft it's not like a mystery. It's the people who are in it and working on their craft every single night and on the road and striving to improve. Those guys, in my opinion, are the guys that are good. And you can watch somebody and we can all watch people and we know what skill level they're at. We know if they're doing it. So that's where it's at for me. Those are the guys who are real for me.
Names? You have any names?
Do I have any names? I think the guys that are guys and girls that are under the radar, not under the radar, they've had some TV success, but are in the clubs and deserve more recognition. I think Carmen Lynch is one. Adrian Appalucci. My girlfriend Katie Hannigan is very funny. I think Gary Veter is very funny. Greg Stone, Anthony DeVito. These guys are probably I don't know how many years in, 10, 12,
Right.
maybe 13, 14, something like that. Or maybe Carmen's been in a little bit longer. So it's like I'm trying to think of people who are not like household names, or those guys are like in the clubs but under the radar, in New York working, and they're very funny. Like Mark Norman has obviously has a level of commercial success now. He's doing well, and I'm happy for Mark. He's a friend of mine. Sam Morrell with his special.
Yeah.
But those guys are already kind of like making a name for themselves, and they're out there. But there's a lot of people who are, in the clubs under the radar, and those are the people who are, before this epidemic, like they were working hard, keeping. I'm a big fan of like nose to the grindstone,
right.
Creating material,
Mm-hmm. So this, a lot of the people that listen to this are comics, specifically comics out there grinding. More people like me, like 10 years in, or even younger, where it's more just like starting out. Maybe they've only done it like a few times. I mean, do you have any closing advice or any comedy wisdom that has become your favorite? Because you're around in New York. I mean, you're hanging out with the best of the best. So is there anything you've absorbed that you could maybe share with us before we get out of here?
I don't think I'm going to share anything new. Like the strategies that I employ are, I'm out of the clubs every night, mostly every night. I take a couple nights off just to, before this all happened, the quarantine, a couple nights to like rejuvenate and to like for self-care, work out and just kind of like be off the road and not in the clubs. But every other night in the clubs, working, podcasting, and podcast also was a thing where I was like, I don't know what this is, like just talking, but you can make it whatever you want to make it. It's really kind of a brilliant thing, you don't have to like just go by what everybody else is doing. You can turn it into whatever you want to turn it into. So it sounds corny, but just the general thing is just like try the best you can in all aspects. Just keep trying the best that you can. Watch people, journal, like different strategies you can employ, but follow through with them and keep trying to get better. That's a major thing. And it sounds like a general note, but keep trying to get better.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying do the work. I mean, take this seriously and do the necessary work. A lot of people don't want to do the work.
Do the work and take the mindset into it. Like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Like, take the mindset into the work, It helps.
Beautiful. Well, Mike, thank you so much for doing this, man. You've been one of my favorite guests, and so many people reached out after your first interview with us about just how much they learned. So I knew this was going to be a good one. I'm glad the internet held up. I think it created a little bit of a delay, me going on data, but it was well worth using my data plan to make this thing happen, dude. This was awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to do it. Seriously.
All right, Joel. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, Hot Breathiverse. That is Mike Vecchione. Where can they support you? Check out anything you have going on as well.
I'm at Comic Mike V on social media. At Comic Mike V. Obviously, I don't have any road dates, but my podcast is called No Disrespect. Anywhere where you get podcasts, it's called No Disrespect. Me, myself, Justin Silver, and Shannon Lee. And that's where you can access me. If you, again, social media at Comic Mike V. My album is also called The Worst Kind of Thoughts. Available on iTunes.
Yes. Go check that out. Support comedians doing the good work of comedy. This guy is one of the funniest out there. And I feel like we're going to look back on this, and people that were involved in this are going to be like, I can't believe I got that immediate access to Mike Vecchione. I'm really excited for everything you're working towards. And it's cool almost that you didn't record this album, because that's still something you get to do. You know what I mean? In terms of having a special and all that, because It's only a matter of time, man. Like it's just, yeah. So I'm almost excited that it didn't happen then, because now it's just, you're just going to keep getting better and better, and when that drops, it's very exciting. I'm a big fan, Mike. I'm a big fan.
Thanks, Joel. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
No doubt, buddy. Stay safe out there. Hey, Hot Brethren and Sistren. If you love comedy as much as we do here at Hot Breath, click the subscribe button to join the Hot Breathiverse, and then watch more videos to get even more comedy tips. Hot Breath.